thank you everybody for coming. We really appreciate all the support and hope you are enjoying yourselves so far. Oh gosh, so lovely. Love it, I love it. Okay, so this looks beautiful. All right.
Amada mía, piensa que soy yo pensando en ti, bella Lucía. Aquella tarde lluviosa, preciosa de abril, lo presentía. Estar en mis sueños por siempre y aquí toda la vida. Si a tu corazón llega la luz, amada mía.
We have this amazing panel of speakers, and I'm so privileged to be up here hosting with all of you. I'm going to let everybody do their own introductions as I pass the mic, but who we have at the table: Mayori from Mayori's Floral Design, Rebecca from The Time, Nyack, Veronica from Paw Victoria. That's right. Daniela from Once Upon a Vow, and Claudia from George and Claudia. So basically, again, I'm going to start with introductions. I'm going to pass the mic. Tell us a little bit of something about yourself, who you are, how long you've been in business, and a fun fact about you. You're first.
Okay. My name is Mayuri, owner of Mayuri's Floral Design. I've been in this business since 25 years, but specifically focusing on weddings since 2011. I have a little bit over 3,000 square foot warehouse in Nyack. I specialize in backdrops and event setups and florals, mainly fresh florals. So, what else?
Fun fact.
My fun fact, I'm a hoarder. Absolutely. The other day I went to donate a bunch of clothes, and then I saw a table on the side of the road, and I picked it up.
You can go to my house.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
You're going to have some more questions. We'll pass it on to Rebecca. We'll be back to you.
Hi, so my name is Rebecca. I'm the sales manager over at The Time, Nyack. Been there since September. I love my job. I work with a lot of brides and celebratory events. The hotel's been there for 2 years, and my fun fact is that my background is actually in social work. So up until 4 years ago, I was working with some of the state agencies, let's just say, that work with families. So.
I apologize for all this hair that's flying around right now. My name is Veronica. I am with Paw For You, the wedding day pet care company. Fun fact, I'm actually a mechanical engineer with a degree in bioengineering, having worked in manufacturing for about 5 years. Then I went on to go get my MBA in healthcare management, and now work for the state as a project manager and bring dogs to weddings on the side.
Hi. So I am Daniela. I am a wedding officiant and love storyteller. I founded Once Upon a Vow, and I started it for non-traditional adventurous couples who want personalized ceremonies so they can kickstart their wedding, the kick-ass ceremony, and just have fun along the way. A fun fact about me is that I love Halloween and karaoke, so every Halloween I gather some friends and family and we go have a good time singing some songs. I'm really good at it.
Hi, my name is Claudia, and the name of my business is George and Claudia. I've been doing weddings since 10 years ago with my husband full-time. And a fun fact about me would be something completely different from here. I actually love to throw away everything in my house that I haven't
use for a while. And my husband, sometimes I have to hide the bags, and my husband sometimes he just looks to make sure I'm not like throwing away his boots, shirts, and that's it.
And I am Martine Darniak, a bridal empowerment expert and owner of The Capable Bride. And so this is our panel, so thank you guys again for coming. So I'm going to have some questions for all of you. Hopefully we can give them some information about what we do. That was really the intent of this event today, was really to get a better sense of what goes on behind the scenes. I know a lot of couples have trouble when they're planning their weddings trying to choose vendors. I am of the personal belief that it is always much more fun if you know the people you're working with. I mean, it's a special day, right? Like, it's the most important day of your life. You want to hang out with some friends. So I invite you all to come and get to know us as friends, and I appreciate that. So my first question will be for Rebecca. What makes your venue unique from other venues?
First of all, I knew that was coming, that I was going to get the first question. Thank you. I think what makes the time different, aside from being the only boutique property in Rockland, is from beginning to end, everyone is hands-on. Every day we're getting comments and just remarks about how everyone is helpful and everyone is attentive. We have some of the best guest service agents on the staff. So for me, that's what would set us apart, is that we're resort feel, just a couple of minutes away from Manhattan.
Thank you. And Veronica, next question goes to you. I want you to introduce your friend there. Who's your friend?
Apparently, I don't know that we're very much friends, because he's mad at me that he doesn't go get to play with the other dogs. But this is my little baby Jake Bear. He is the inspiration for the business. So when I got married in 2016, everybody that I knew was at the wedding. So it became a matter of who do I ask and who can I get to bring him to the venue, or at least bring him to the church for a few pictures, bring him to the venue afterwards, and then bring him back home during the reception without having to ask any of my guests to leave the cocktail hour. We ended up having to ask a guest anyway, so that was a little bit unfortunate, but she was paid nicely. So, but after that, I decided to start the business, and it's been booming since.
Instead of just doing like the Pinterest types of cookie cutter wedding, I love to talk to them and include their hobbies or where they're from, and start putting those elements together. And I love designing flowers and try to incorporate as much unique flowers as I can and work with them.
So what's your approach to taking pictures? Kind of describe your style.
During the day. So I'm a photojournalistic photographer, which pretty much I'm not traditional. I don't like traditional pictures. I will not pose you. I will take the moment, like as an example, like if she's laughing at him, I will take that picture of he kiss her in the forehead. I will take that picture. I also kind of like doing the details. I like to clean stuff. So whenever I'm taking detail pictures, I will close the bathroom. I will pick up the bags. That's not in my job description, but I kind of makes things easier and prettier.
That makes sense, because you like to like.
That makes a total sense.
Now that we know.
Now that we know.
But I don't throw them away.
All right, Daniela, so what do you love about being an officiant?
Everything, because I think I have the best job ever. Sorry, Mary. Okay, so for me, I really get to know the couple kind of like on a very deep level, how they met, what annoys them about each other, what they love about each other, just kind of like every detail in and out. It's part of my process and it's so much fun. But the other part is that I get to actually be there, have the best seat in the house, and celebrate with the couple and kind of see all those emotions right then and there. And after getting to know a couple, it's just such a touching moment to be there kind of as a friend and get them married. And to celebrate with their loved ones, it's just, I try not to cry during weddings, I breathe, but it's very much there. It's like all the emotions are there. So it's my favorite.
So my favorite part really is watching them enjoy the wedding. So I actually appreciate what you're saying.
I'm like doing the weddings. I still do a few weddings here and there. Generally try to do about 2 or 3 a month, but for the most part, the other girls do them. And it's really almost a necessity that I still do a lot of the planning because it is such a new service and there's so many facets of it that you learn, that you discover, that you need to incorporate into the planning piece, right down to things like we now have a question on our questionnaire, do you want the dog's hang tags removed? So it gets to be a very detailed thing, and that's why I still do work with all of them. I might not ever meet them face to face, but I do work with them when it comes to the final planning piece and all the details for the day of.
Rebecca, kind of walk us through what you do for a typical wedding.
So our planning process actually starts when the bride calls, looking for hotel accommodations for our incoming guests. So that initial conversation can go from 10 minutes to an hour to last week it was an hour and 45 minutes of just trying to plan the hotel accommodations for maybe 15 incoming guests. What rooms are they gonna like? What views will they like? How many rooms do they need? And then there are some questions that do deserve some extra time, such as the pricing and where can we block them off at. So for us, the beginning is always that initial conversation. And then from there, there's a room block that's created, the online booking code that goes out to them. We work with them and their guests to make sure everyone gets accommodated to the best. Day of, now I'm actually working on Saturday, so I do get to meet my brides in person to person, which I love. So there's some hand holding as well and some coaching even day of.
Naomi. I love the looks of shock. So kind of talk us through the most elaborate wedding you've ever had to set up.
My most recent elaborate wedding, I want to say, was Hunter Mountain. And we created a mandap structure, which is similar to a huppah, on top of the mountain. So you actually have to take the ski lift in Indian garbs and go up the ski lift and get off. So my bridal party, the groomsmen party, with the music, they had to take the ski lift up. Then we also had musicians flown in from India, fresh jasmine flown in, and then we had the reception in the ski lodge, and we transformed everything that we could change we did, and we also had a henna artist come in there. So I like to do unique weddings, and I've had opportunity to do many of those, but I think that's the last one that comes to my mind. Yeah.
That does sound pretty elaborate.
I wanted to be there.
And it sounded like a fun time.
I will call you first.
I like that.
So for Claudia, can you describe your work before, during, and after the wedding?
Well, before I meet the clients, after I do their engagement session, after their engagement session, they get the images in 2 weeks. Most of my clients, they book me online because they already their referrals, so I don't get to meet them until the day of the engagement session, which is pretty cool. During the wedding, I shoot with my husband, so I take pictures of the details, the bride getting ready. He takes pictures of the groom getting ready details, and then we meet at the ceremony location. I'm usually in the back, he's usually in the front, and so he takes pictures of the bride walking down the aisle. I take pictures of the groom whenever he sees the bride for the very first time, which is really nice. That's why you need two photographers. And the reception is really simple. People are just dancing.
All right, Daniela. So kind of what's the basic approach to working with your clients? You talked a little bit before about how you really just love getting to know them, but kind of talk us through like what happens.
So when they reach out to me, I send them a questionnaire assuming that we're a great fit. So they first read a blog that says 5 reasons I'm not the right officiant for them, and assuming that all 5 reasons don't resonate with them, then I'll go into the next step of sending them the questionnaire. So the questionnaire is basically just this moment where together as a couple you can fill out all the reasons you love each other, how you met, and this is just my way of getting like a sneak peek into their lives because we're complete strangers and we're just trying to get to know each other online a little bit before we meet in person. And so after they fill out the questionnaire, we meet in person either through like a coffee date or like happy hour if they really like booze. And then we'll just get to know each other. We'll dive in a little bit deeper into the questionnaire. I'll ask them other questions that weren't on the questionnaire. And we just get really personal really quickly. So some people refer to it as kind of like a really nice therapy session. I kind of think it's just like this fun interrogation just on my part. But either way, that's my way of getting to know them. And we figure out what they want in their ceremony in that session. We figure out their story in that session, and that's the way I'm able to personalize their ceremony so that it feels like a friend is marrying them and not like this boring person that's never met them before. So.
Okay, so the next question is gonna go to So, what suggestions do you have for your couples?
For their events, I like to start with their favorite colors, what their vision is. Is it outdoor? Is it indoor? Is it in a ballroom? Does it have unique features where you're getting married? What season? Spring, fall, hot summer day, all that matters.
What I like to suggest to my couples, or what I wish they would ask, is how can we personalize our ceremony so that it's a reflection of us? And that's partially my job. Like, my job is during the ceremony to make it about them. But there's so many other elements to a ceremony, like the processional, like the song you walk down to. It doesn't have to be like the song of the year. It could be like Jurassic Park if like that's something that like you watched on your first date or whatever. I had a couple who they were baseball rivals. He was a Yankee fan, she was a Nationals fan, and their ring bearer, instead of having like a pillow, he had the rings in this really cute kid baseball glove. Like little touches like that. I would say the same thing for a unity ceremony, for instance. I have a lot of couples who are adventurers and travelers, and being able to incorporate that in their ceremony is, I think, really important to making their personality shine.
Okay, Claudia, what's one thing you wish all your couples would know before they start wedding planning?
I would love for the couples, and she didn't pay me for this, but to hire a wedding planner.
I totally didn't pay her for that.
Most of the couples, they hear from the venue that they get a wedding planner, but it's not like a real wedding planner. So hiring a real wedding planner makes a big difference. Because then that helps me with the details.
Thank you for that. I know it's going to feel like I totally plugged that one, but it didn't.
Well, first check with the venue, park, church, all of that. But call us is really kind of the best way. It's one of those things. A lot of people don't know where to start. There's so much content out online for florists and officiants, how to put some finishing touches on your ceremony. There's almost nothing online, which is one thing we're working on this year, on where to start. So really, give us a call. Search around our website, things like that. That'll certainly not only ensure, but it'll get you started along the path.
Becca, for you, couples would know before they start wedding planning. So kind of the same question, but slightly different spin for your personal situation.
Get a wedding planner. No, just for us, Honestly, for us, it's for the couple to be realistic with what they're looking for, as far as how many rooms do they really think are going to be used, but also just to their expectation and of what they're being held. So we'll have brides that come in and they're saying, oh, but the wedding starts at 5. What are they going to do all day? You have to be home getting ready. The hotel will do its part and your guests will enjoy their day, but just be realistic about what the expectations that you have for yourself and that your guests have for you, so you can enjoy it.
Echoing on the enjoying and leaving enough time for actually being able to do that. I think, again, a lot of times, especially since they've never been through it, part of all of our jobs really is to help them understand, like, what does this day look like and how can we actually get to the point where you're getting to the wedding and enjoying it.
I'm sorry. With the room blocks, if the wedding falls on a Saturday and you know the majority of your guests are coming in that Friday or Saturday, you can't worry about your uncle who might be coming 3 weeks in advance because he's traveling from someplace else. Just be realistic about what you can offer.
That's fair. Now I'm going to have a follow-up question, though. So when you're talking about room blocks, how would you set those up?
So the room blocks, which is so funny because I just got a question. It's not an actual room block of like 5 rooms next to each other. So a room block means that we're blocking off a certain number of rooms for your guests. Courtesy block is usually 10 to 20. So we block off 10 to 20, taking them out of our inventory. Usually the example that I give is a cookie jar. And we take 10 to 20 cookies out of the cookie jar so no one else eats them, and then we give those to your guests. So that's a room block.
Thank you. I figured some people might not know what one of those was. Have you? Anybody have anything they'd like to add?
For Veronica, is it only for dogs or do you work with different types of pets?
Well, the punchline there. I do advertise wedding day pet care in the hopes that it would cover everything. In the last about 700 requests we've had, there have been 2 cats and they never materialized. My guess is just because cats by nature aren't really good in public. And every pet we've had has been a dog, but yeah, really dying for a teacup pig.
Anything else?
I always tell my couples like about 30 to 45 days in advance, because in the state of New York, you can get your license within 60 days. So don't get it too early and don't get it the day before. Just like make sure to have it in that sweet spot where you have it, you got it covered, you like pin it to your dress, don't lose it, and you'll legally be married and sign, seal, delivered, the whole thing.
Color scheme in mind, the bridal dress, at least the color, narrow it down, and some idea of what you like. If not, pin some images on the Pinterest board, share it with me, and I ask them to fill out those. It's a long form, but it's every question that you need to be, like I need to ask you for you to do your flowers. And the other important thing is, yes, do look at the budget calculator, the wedding wire and the knot gives you, but don't hold yourself to that, because that budget calculator, I feel like it's like for 100 guests, and you may have 200 guests, so you can't squeeze 200 people, like 20 table worth budget in 10 tables, and you may have 10 girls, and that budget calculator could be easily for 4 girls. So you have to be realistic about like where the information's coming from. So dress swatch, color scheme, fill out the form, and then we set up a discovery call and ask you questions to guide you, and then we go from there.
All right. Oh, we've got one more?
Yeah.
My question is for Martine. What is a typical bridal timeline? I hear this like being thrown at me a lot, like, oh, we're supposed to do this. I just want to know what it
And
is.
an average of a year planning the wedding. Do you need to spend a year? Not necessarily, but a lot of the venues book up early, so that's usually one of the factors there, is just trying to find the spot that you want and a date that's available for you. The other one is really just mostly trying to get that money. So a lot of people are actually trying to save up for the event. They know it's coming, but they're just trying to plan for it. It really just depends on when all your vendors are available. So now that you've said that, one of my big things is a lot of the times when you see the wedding planning material online, it's like, book your photographer 10 months out, you know, book your officiant the month before. And, you know, right. So the whole point is, if you really have a vendor that you like, you should book them quickly. And as soon as you've had that conversation and you know that you're ready to do it. And what does it mean to book them? Typically that means you've got to put a deposit in, make sure that that date is secured. If you don't do that, you don't have the vendor, and a lot of times I think that's the other thing that I run into is people think that, oh, well, I talked to them, I told them that was my date, and, you know, they should totally be available for that. They said they were. Well, in the time since we talked about it, like, there have been other requests that have come in, and you've got to follow up on the ones that are actually approaching. So my thing is, while your timeline may be a year, book your vendors as early as you possibly can. So kind of go through that process. I do walk people through, what does that look like? What does it mean to choose your vendors? How should you go about approaching that process? Because it does take some time, right? So to get in order to get to know everybody, in order to be able to choose the right one, in order to be able to make it fit in your budget, it takes some research time. And so again, how do we help them kind of simplify that process? It's kind of it. You can do it in I mean, I don't think I've ever done anything in less than 3 months. But, you know, again, it really just depends on when you get your vendors, and also just understanding that the faster you plan it, the less choice you'll have.
So true. So 1 month, sometimes I get calls one day.
You're trying to get married in a really busy season. Like if you're getting married in June and you're trying to do it starting in April, you're probably going to have a pretty hard time trying to find a venue and vendors that are available at that point. So again, just kind of planning for yourself, like just making sure that you keep that in mind, that everybody's got timelines. This doesn't mean that you might find somebody who accidentally is available, but do you really want to wait for an accident on an important day in your
And
life?
if they are available, I would question why.
That's the other question. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. There are no other final last words you want to share? Advice?
Sorry, just one thing. So once you have everything planned, you're walking down the aisle, the day is happening. Sometimes there are couples who really stress out about the details, like something's running late, something else is happening, and you can't control everything. So one thing that I like to tell my couples is just like let go. Let go and enjoy every moment you possibly can, because it goes by so fast, like way too fast, way faster than you think and that you can ever prepare for, which is why it's important to have a planner so you don't have to worry about the details. It's important to have a photographer who can capture those moments. It's important to spend time with the people that you love and care about, like your family and friends who are there showing up for you, and just making sure that you really treasure that moment, because you're not going to relive it again unless you renew your vows. And in that case, you'll relive it again, but it'll be a different time. But just enjoy every moment that you can. It goes by way too fast.
That was definitely wise words there. All right, well, thank you all again so much for being here this evening, and I wanted to thank all the guests too. Hopefully you found that informative and enjoyable. We're going to stick around. There's going to be some music. DJ King is on the case, and enjoy the rest of the party. Thanks.
Si a tu corazón llega la luz, amada mía, piensa que soy yo pensando en ti, bella Lucía. Aquella tarde lluviosa, preciosa de abril, lo presentía. Estar en mis sueños por siempre y aquí toda la vida. Si a tu corazón llega la luz, amada mía,